Hi everybody, I'm going to try again to make a video on this new braid technique that I've been working on. Originally I came up with this braid here. A lot of people are saying it's a little bit like a Mobius, but it's kind of pointy. I'm not sure what to call it. It is a different technique than the Mobius. And I've kind of found that with that same technique, I came up with 3 other styles that are almost identical in technique, but very different in look. You can see this is very similar to something that looks like a bubblegum braid. But it's got a little more dimension to it, and it only uses one long ribbon rather than lots of pieces folded individually. Another little variation on that is something that we have here, and I'll show you that one. And then here is the last one that I have here. Again, very similar technique on all of them, so I'm going to just get started and try to show all of them in one video. So it will get a little bit long, but bear with me and I will do the best I can. So everything will just be, for these anyway, 2 colors, and then you'll just put, the good sides out on either of them. We're going to start with 1 loop and staple it enough so that we can make another loop that goes through here, a lot like a military braid. So I'm going to start by just any way I can, just getting 1 loop started through this original loop, and then from there we'll really start to look at the technique. But the first one is really just a matter of getting that loop started so that we can flip it over, and kind of this right here is kind of the base for everything that we're doing. So that first one that we did, that comes together a lot like this braid here. We're going to fold up, and I'm creasing all of my folds as I go. I'm not leaving it very loopy. That was just kind of my personal taste. It lays a little flatter that way. So I'm going to fold it up, and I'm going to make a crease in it, kind of a long crease, so it's kind of like a very cute triangle type thing here. And I want to crease it all the way until it stops right at the corner of this loop. Then I'm going to make a red loop to go through, just like you would do with your military braid. And that's going to go through here. Okay. And I'm going to pull it a little tight, crease everything down nice and flat, and then adjust this loop so that it's just the right size for the next one. So we'll flip it over and we'll do the same thing. I'm going to crease it up along the back, and I'm going to make kind of a crease starting in this corner at the bottom, creasing it till it's just about ends at the top here of that loop. And then again, making a loop that can go through there, so it'll be the opposite color. If this loop is red, you're going to make this loop on the white side and feed that through. And again, tightening everything, and then I'm going to give it a good crease as I go along, just to help it lay more flat. If you don't, it will end up very much like a corkscrew. It'll twist quite a bit. If you want to go for that look, that's fine. That's just not what I'm doing in this video. It still will twist a bit, even if you crease it, but not nearly as much as you would with a corkscrew. So we're folding it here. Again, I'll do a couple more of these before I move on to the next one, just so you can watch it a few more times if needed. I'm doing this off the spool, but it tangles quite a bit. I probably would be inclined to cut it to length, and in my last video I said about 6 yards. I actually have done a few full length now, and I'm guessing it's really closer to 7, maybe even just a touch over 7, depending on how tight you make these pieces. So I'll do a couple more here. So as I feed this one through, I think you're getting the idea that we're basically doing the same thing on all of these. So we're getting this pointy side, and then in the background you can kind of see what looks a lot like a bubblegum braid, although a very different technique to get there. So on the next side, I'm going to adjust it just a little bit, and I'm going to do something just a little different on this. Now we're going to do one that looks more like a bubblegum braid. I'm trying to see if I can find one. So it'll look more like this, where if you look at it straight on, it almost looks like a bubblegum braid, but you can see it's got a lot more dimension. So the only thing we're going to do different on that is as we bring our piece up, instead of folding it at the corner, we're going to come up here, and we're going to fold it right over the top square, so you're making more of a 45-degree fold instead of that longer fold. And other than that, it's going to be exactly the same as what we just did. Folding the red loop through the white loop, and then as I do that, as I fold everything tight, I want to just make sure that I'm getting this nice like right triangle here. I can flip this over, make sure that my loop is about the right size there. Folding it up, coming just to the edge of this top square where I'm making my 45-degree corner. And the same thing, make my white loop to go through the back. And again, creasing everything to try to keep it somewhat flat. I'm twisting up a bit because I'm off the spool here, but I'm going to run this one down. And maybe some more. All right, so if I fold up on this side, I'll do about 1 or 2 more of these. So again, 45 degrees. Make my red loop, feed it through the white loop, just like your military braid. I haven't really been looking at the camera to see if I'm even in the shot here. I hope so. I don't want to have to do it over. I've already done this a few times, but I'm not talented when it comes to photo or video editing of any sort. So I'm trying to just do the best I can here for you. Get them tangled. All right, so I'll do one more of these. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to fold it on a 45-degree corner right there. I'm going to get my loop and I'm going to put it through. All right, so now you can see they've basically come up with something that looks face on a lot like a bubblegum braid with a little more dimension, a little more interest. Now, if I'm going to change it a little bit more, I'm going to do basically exactly the same thing, but on this section, instead of folding it like I had done here, all I did was fold it inward on itself. So now I have the same 45-degree corner. I just used the red side instead of the white side showing. And so that'll give me a little bit more of I don't know, I guess just a different shape. Just kind of the same look on, a new look on the same thing. I'll pull that one through. And here again, I need to really untangle this a bit. I'll come up on the other side here. I'm going to fold it behind itself. And then through like my military braid and send that loop through. And again, I'm creasing everything as I go along. I am noticing I keep going out of frame. I'm really sorry. It's hard for me to figure out where my hands are supposed to be here. So, send the red loop through the white loop and tighten everything and crease everything. And so now you can see what we're coming up with here. I can find my longer piece. So a little bit longer one of the same idea will look something like this. All of these are identical on both sides. They don't have a front side and a back side. So if it does tend to twist a little bit, you're still getting essentially the same braid on both sides. And I goofed a little, so I went back to the old one on that, but we'll get over that. All right, so then one other one that I was doing, a little bit different again. Let's see, let me get some ribbon out. So the next one that I did was, rather than, prior to this, we had been taking the opposite color and creating the loop. So I had been making a red loop to go through here. On this one, I'm going to switch, and I'm going to keep a white loop like this, and I'm just going to send the white loop. I'm not really folding anything just yet. I'm just making a white loop like this. I'm going to twist that through. And now we're getting kind of a almost, well, because I'm using red and white, I feel like it's almost like a candy cane stripe of sorts. So I'm going to come up here again, just make the white loop, send the white loop through the white loop, and I'll get this kind of red sash that comes along the top, and then you've got the white squares behind it. So again, I'm looking at the white loop, sending it through back this way. So I'm hoping that you're able to get enough of this so you can see what I'm doing. I'll do one more. So again, on this one, I'm just making only a white loop without any real creases or folds before that. And then I will feed it through and kind of adjust as needed so that I'm getting this kind of sash that kind of comes across the top there. So these are the 4 braids using essentially one technique of just making one loop and using one single ribbon to create all these different looks. I hope you like it. I think this is good for beginners because you're not really learning all that much technique, and it doesn't use a lot of ribbon compared to some other braids that we do. So good luck with these. I hope they work out. Let me know how you do. Thank you.